Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Yorgos and this is the Ove Boat. Today I have a very special guest in the channel. It's the guy that really is responsible for starting this whole craze with the Ove Boat. The person that is responsible for pretty much buying the boat and the person that has his name after this boat. So without further ado, let's get my friend Ove on the line. Hi, Ove. Welcome
Hel-
to the channel.
Hello, how are you doing down there?
I'm good. How's life up there?
Cold and dark as usual.
So I was just saying in the introduction that you are the person responsible for starting this whole craze with the channel, YouTube channel, and the boat, and really having your name after this boat. So floor is yours. Explain to
Well,
our viewers.
it kind of started with you starting to search for a boat, and you were complaining that the prices in Finland were way too expensive. Everything we looked at and you sent to me was way too pricey, and I was saying, but I know I can find something cheaper in Norway." So I
or
went on.
way too crappy, not just pricey.
Yes, yeah, either too crappy or too pricey. But when we went over to the Norwegian sites, I found it was actually the first boat I found, and we kind of both went, "Yeah, that looks good. This one is actually a quite decent boat to get. I wonder where it is." And then we looked at it, and I looked at the address, and I see the photos of the boat, and it is 200 meters away from my office. By pure luck. It basically said, "We need to go have a look at this boat." And that is basically how your boat ended up in Finland.
So I told you obviously that okay, go and have a look at it. We both I think found the price very attractive compared to Finnish standards. So what followed then?
Um, we talked a bit with the guys who had the boat. We discussed when I should meet up in the middle of the winter. Freezing cold, perfect winter price, cheap boats in the winter, of course. And we went there and had a look. And it didn't look good, like in a beautiful way, but it had potential. It's had a lot of things that was wrong with it, but all the important stuff seemed to be okay. The engine started at once while it was minus 10 degrees at sea level. The water inside the boat tasted fresh water and not salt water. Ooh.
Which is
And
something that I had mentioned on the boat guide in a
yeah,
previous episode.
yeah. And most of the things I saw were easily fixable, or it didn't have any impact on the use of the boat as an everyday boat for cheap. For that price, it was a bargain. I kind of regretted showing it to you afterwards.
And I do remember you saying that it started immediately. That you tasted the water, that it was really fresh water rather than salt water. You also mentioned that okay, electrics are non-existent, but
Yeah.
this is something that I can do because you know that I am a DIY guy and I do know how to set up electrics. We both agreed that the canopy was a goner, but solution was found.
And the solution worked,
Yeah,
as shown in the previous episode. Go watch
also.
it.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, well, it took a bit of time before you got it because I had to store it for a while at my place. Luckily, we got a friend of mine who volunteered after a little bit of talking, and we managed to get hold of cheap boat trailer, which he had to shuffle out of the snow for 2 hours and pick it up. So that was a story in itself. But we did pay him handsomely, I would say.
We did, and then only this year we realized also that that particular trailer, the electrics were not working either.
Yep. We also had quite a lot of fun when you guys got up here and we tried to move the boat over to the second trailer.
The brakes were stuck, first of all, weren't they?
Yeah, the brakes were stuck. The lights didn't work. Luckily, it was only 2 kilometers away. So we snuck off, checked the wheel bearings, and it kind of released without any problems afterwards. But when we got there, someone had taken with them a car that was a bit too low. So we couldn't get it out into the sea.
Well, solution was found then.
Yes, the solution was found. The
On a
local,
Saturday. On a
yes,
Saturday.
the local owner of that camping site had a tractor, and he basically lifted it off the trailer and put it on the trailer you had bought, which was a great buy, by the way.
It's a good trailer. It is a good trailer, yeah.
Yeah, and basically he wanted so little money that we paid him all over double of what he demanded, because
Okay.
it was a pittance.
You bastard! You cost me double the money. Which, by the way, I think he asked the equivalent of 10 euros, I think, for
Yes.
doing that job. So that was like ridiculously low as well.
Yeah, we gave him, I think we gave him 25 euros just because we were so happy.
Yeah.
And
You were shocked when you heard his demands.
yeah, I was like, yeah, that would happen anytime. I would
Well,
do that.
it seems kind of, it follows the pattern, you know, that it's a cheap boat overall.
Yes.
And I'm also trying to follow the pattern of keeping it a cheap boat, right? So I'm not kind of going over the top with any crazy additions to it. You know, everything that I'm putting in, of course, is necessary, but I'm not spending crazy amounts of money to do that.
It is the bang for the bucks approach, which it's basically we got the boat that you got the most for the least amount of money.
Yeah, we want the fish that we catch not to be very
Expensive.
very expensive. Yeah.
It's like these boats are also very well known in Norway for being great, sturdy, everyday fishing boats for people on cabins. They love these ones. They are sturdy, they are stable, they can take a lot of sea if it's needed, a lot of waves. They're not too fast, but that isn't too important when you're going fishing or getting to the cabin.
Having said that, I actually clocked 22 knots full speed, and I have to say that the conditions were not like super ideal when I did that. So
Yeah.
there might be a possibility to grab a couple of more, but I'm really happy, you know, like
Yeah.
kind of
20,
not per price, you know. It's kind of
yeah.
it's pretty good ratio, let's say.
Yes, it is basically. It's 20 to 25 knots is where that boat should be.
Yeah, and
Uh,
as you mentioned that these are boats that people really like to fish on them, and obviously this boat has had a lot of fishing. It's
yeah.
rather clear.
Yeah, you could see the traces of the lines going over on the side of the boat, and well, they have had a good time in that boat for sure.
Yes, absolutely, and I hope that they'll manage to land quite big fish there. I'm pretty sure
Oh
that they have.
yes. Oh yes, it is after all the kingdom of the halibut up here.
It really is, and we will be kind of touching a bit of on the fishing topic a bit later with you. So let me take you back quite a few years. So basically, how did you get the boat bug?
Uh, well, it's basically started back when I was like 5 years old when we moved out to a small island, the fourth largest island in Norway. My parents started the farm. My father is a fisherman. and we needed a boat to get around. And living out there in a small place, there's not much to do apart from what you find to do yourself. So we took the boat out just outside the piers and started fishing. And then we started walking into the river next to us, fishing there and the lakes around. And that's how we started the fishing bug.
So do you remember what boat that was that your father had?
Oh, it was what we call a toad. It's a very rounded glass fiber boat that was just for rowing that we used because we were not allowed to get more than 100 meters away from the shoreline because of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She needed to see where we were, and we had another boat. So if something happened, and we had these old-fashioned cork life jackets on, that was very uncomfortable. But we went out fishing no matter what, rain or snow and everything. Oh, we're bored. We're going fishing.
And I suppose your mother was bored of cleaning the fish that you were bringing then.
Yeah, well, we had to do it ourselves. If we caught it, we had to clean it. There is a reason why I have multiple scars on some of my fingers. Learning by doing and learning by missing.
All right, and then fast forward some years then on I believe that you have owned at least one boat in the past.
Yeah. Basically, I didn't need to own a boat when I lived back home up in the north of Norway because either friends had a boat or my parents had a boat, or we could borrow around and buy the fuel and give them some extra fuel and we could use them. But then when I moved down to Tampere, the call of the sea started to get to me, and I were figuring out how to get a boat. And that is a story. Oh my God. That boat
I was part of that story, obviously.
yes. I were looking for a small little boat to get out on Nesijärvi, the lake in next to Tampere. And I found a boat that was dirt cheap with a Mariner 20 horsepower engine. It looked like not too good, we could say.
And that was a two-stroke engine, if I remember right.
Yeah, an old Mariner two-stroke, one of the last ones they made, I think, which is Mariner is one of the holy grails of engines up here because it was so solid. So me and a couple of friends went to have a look at it. He said, I want to sell it for 800 euros. And the other person who wanted to buy this was kind of in her 50s. And she said, yeah, but I can offer more. And he goes, nope, I have written in the ad that I would sell it for 800 euros. So we have to find a solution. And basically, he just mixed up some sticks, and the guy who drew the short stick didn't get the boat. And I can understand that he didn't want to go on a bidding war. After all, he was a man of his word and he was a man of the cloth. It was one of the priests around Helsinki.
Yep.
So that was a very interesting way to get the boat. So me and my friends took that boat, drove all the way from Helsinki. Basically, for that cheap, I didn't care how it looked. But I saw the potential in that one as well. It was dirty. It had a lot of seaweed growing on it because it had been out all the time. It was like a 10-centimeter layer on the keel. And me and my friends went up, took it off in the harbor where I was supposed to use it, and me and another friend used 2 weeks to get everything off, polishing it off, painting the entire boat, and putting it ready.
I do remember myself doing a bit of sanding as well on that boat.
Yes. Yeah, you did learn how to sand that. Oh God, that was a story.
But yeah, it turned out to be really, really good. I do recall one occasion, the two of us going out in our local lake in here, with let's put it this way, weather conditions not been optimal.
Yeah, well, it was optimal where we were fishing, but
I don't
since
think that we were fishing that day.
we were fishing, actually, we were fishing for hauki, and we decided, well, we looked into the boat and, oh, we have not gotten too much fuel. So we decided to go to the nearest gas station, but then we had to drive further south, and the wind came. And you could see the big boats coming in. You could see those guys standing on the flybridge, fear in their eyes, knuckles white on the steering wheel, and we're coming there, waving, going, wee, 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 coming
Thinking
in.
about it, it was rather scary.
Not for me. I'm used to
Not for you.
much bigger waves. And I am one of those who are, I am quite, uh, I timid about being in the bad weather. So for me, this wasn't bad weather. It was normal. Uh, but you could see people pointing at us and like shaking their heads and everything. And we come in and they look at us. We fill up with gas, start the engine and again and start driving out. And you can see them going even more. They were like, what are they doing? And we're going out and going boom, boom, all the
Yep.
way until we got back into the place where we were going to fish. And then we continued fishing.
So once that boat was ready, then what was the main use for it?
Oh, I used it to explore the southern ends of Näsijärvi, go swimming somewhere, fishing, just enjoying Näsijärvi and enjoying life in general, which is quite comfy and very nice to do on a
And
lake.
there are beautiful places around Näsijärvi to just
Yes,
visit overall.
yes. We even one day we didn't have a car, me and a couple of friends, but there was a place east of Tampere that had the greatest pool table. So we took the boat and drove all the way to that place with the pool cues in the boat over to that place and played a lot of pool and then drove back again with the boat just because we didn't have a car. It took us like 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back. So we stopped in the middle and had a swim.
There are nice restaurants as well, kind of in
Yes,
between, so that you can actually stop and enjoy some really good food.
yes. And
So
that is the good thing.
then you sold the boat, obviously,
Yes.
once you went back to Norway.
Yeah. And I sold it back to a guy who also asked me, didn't have too much money. So I asked I think I asked 1,200 for it. But I could understand that he was also a boat lover and he also liked Volkswagens at the time, which I liked. And we agreed that he could get it for the price that I bought it for because I had it for 2 years. And yeah, the boat paid itself in
Absolutely, yeah.
all those pleasurable times. And I didn't spend more than like 400 euros cleaning it up anyway. So
Yeah,
it
and
was,
you cannot put a price tag on those memories anyway.
no, that's true.
Yeah,
It
and then have you owned a boat since?
Unfortunately not, because I have had problems getting a harbor and a place to put it, but now it looks a bit better. At the current place, the economy is getting better. Everything starts to kind of fall together. So I'm looking at one now, which is uh, kind of either the same boat as you have, just a little bit bigger one,
So
or
18-footer or 17 or 18-footer,
yes, or
and kind of a
a
bit bigger cabin, I guess.
yeah, and or a one where you can stand inside as well. I'm looking at that one as well, but that one is a little bit costly.
Yep,
But up here, the weather is worse. It can be tougher, and these boats are well known for being good in rough weather, which is very important up here.
absolutely, yes. And the tides in Norway, kind of, this is something that has to be mentioned for other international viewers. There are people watching us from all around the world, so just if you could explain for a second, even in that area that you are living. I do remember that particular camping that you mentioned, that they had their own marina there. That was one of the reasons why we couldn't get the car down. That the tide was like really low that day.
Yeah, you were kind of unlucky and got to this place at a time when the tide is the worst, and then the difference is at normal times about 5 meters at the top and the bottom, and that gives a lot of issues at the time. And
So is that same place now that we are referring to? That are there any possibilities that if you bought a boat that you could put it there?
Yes, that is my plan, and it is relatively cheap. It's about 1,000 euros there for an entire year, and they do go and check the boats as well.
Okay.
And they,
I think that price is quite costly compared to Finland for a change. Yeah.
yes, that is quite costly, but in Norway it's extremely cheap. In the cities, the same place would easily be double, if not triple, the price.
Okay. All right. Would there be any possibility that you could use is it platform that they are having there to take your boat down and you store it at your backyard?
Yes, that's the
on a trailer?
Yes, that's why I want to have that place, because it's close to where I live. It is possible for me to get the boat up with the tractor, for instance, and they can help me get it to my place and pick it up in the spring when I want it out. Or I can store it there, because in that area the salt content in this fjord is high enough so it doesn't freeze.
Okay, so you could have it on the water throughout the year, basically.
Yeah, and that is also why I'm considering the bigger cabin, because then you can also have some heat in it, and I can use it to fish in the winter if I want
In the
to.
winter as well, that would be really great. So let's say that how close are you to making this happen?
It all depends on the things you want, because you can't have it all, and I want a lot of different things, and it's all about what will give me the most joy for me. It's like, I would love to have the boat to go out on the nice warm summer day. I want to go out and have a battle with the halibut. I want to get my own fish, because the fish you catch yourself, no matter the quality, it always tastes the best.